more free, more liberty. It seems like we're facing a future where we're going to have less liberty, less freedom. And that is not our heritage. We are supposed to be expanding the horizons of our freedom. And when government tells you that, we're going to have to deal with the fact that you're just not going to have as much freedom and liberty as you did before. That is someone who's stealing our heritage from us. Anyways,
right.
We'll be talking about that and many other issues. We're having Randy Brogdon on the Radio Free Oklahoma show. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Well, welcome back to Radio Free Oklahoma. We have Senator Randy Brogdon on. He's announced his candidacy for governor of Oklahoma, which is encouraging news to a lot of people here who crave liberty in Oklahoma. If you've been listening to the entire show, you know that we had as our previous guests Mike and Jamie of the Mike and Jamie Show. They are libertarian talk show hosts in Oklahoma. And we asked them, what 2 questions would you like us to ask our following guest, Senator Randy Brogdon? And 2 questions that came up. And I think we will give Senator Brogdon a chance to answer them are, number one, Senator, apparently you were the initiator or sponsor of legislation to erect a monument to the 10 Commandments on the Capitol lawn. By what constitutional means do you justify this legislation? And I'll let you answer the question.
Well, our entire rule of law, dates all the way back to the Roman law. It's the 10 Commandments are the very basis of our Constitution. We find that information, the 10 Commandments, throughout the Mayflower Compact, our Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and freedom, and property ownership. It's all about based on the 10 Commandments. So it has been truly proven as a historical document, and I recognize that it's a religious document as well, but it is something that cannot be ignored as the very standard and the very basis for our rule of law. And I think it's important that we are able to memorialize such an important document that is a sacred part of our history as a country. And so that's my the reason for running the bill.
Okay, thank you for answering that. I'm not going to offer a proxy response to that. I'm not sure what Mike and Jamie would respond to that. The second question they wanted to ask you was, would you turn down federal money for public schools?
Every dime of it. I would not accept it. I believe that the federal government, and this is the problem in our country today, the federal government is so far overreaching and working so outside of their enumerated powers, it is literally destroying our country right underneath our noses. So I am the only one here in the state of Oklahoma, certainly in the state legislature, that is demanding that Governor Henry, reject the stimulus money. And, he has refused to do that. And now the feeding frenzy has started at the state capitol. Here we are with only 4 weeks left to go in session. And as of today, we still don't have a budget. And there's one primary reason for not having a state budget. It's because of all the new federal stimulus dollars that are being handed down. So I would reject all of the federal money in education, and I would certainly reject all of the federal mandates that's pushed down into our local school system. Congress they just don't have the authority, constitutional authority, to tell the state of Oklahoma or the Owasso school system what we should do in our local school. So we've got everything backwards, it's upside down, and I am convinced that we can restore and we can cure the ills that are plaguing this nation simply by returning to our founding principles that worked so well for the first 200 and some odd years that this nation has been built.
Excellent. Well, I think you only have a couple more minutes left before you need to go. I'll give the platform to you. What would you like to tell the listeners of Radio Free Oklahoma?
Well, I would certainly. I know you probably have a pretty wide, and I'm sorry for the noise. I'm outdoors right here, but I'd like to tell your listeners to seriously consider what is at stake in the governor's race in 2010. And the state of Oklahoma, for the first time in a long time, will truly have a choice. If you're looking for a solid constitutional conservative, if you're looking for someone who appreciates the rule of law, that loves the rule of law, the Constitution, I carry it with me everywhere I go. I believe it, and I preach it, and I debate on its merits on a regular basis. I'm going to give the people a choice in the 2010 election. If you're looking for an off-the-shelf politician, if you're wanting to keep the status quo and just kind of maintain where we are, then I'm not your guy. But if you're looking for someone that has an excitement, someone who has a different idea, someone who will promote economic development through profit rather than through corporate welfare, those are the kind of issues that I support. I would love to get rid of the state income tax. I think taxing productivity is one of the silliest things that you can do. Yet we have a very high progressive state income tax in the state of Oklahoma. So I have a different vision and a different idea and a much different method when it comes to governance. I believe in the expansion of freedom. I believe in handcuffing the government. I believe in limited government, individual liberty, and personal responsibility, and keep the government off of our back and out of our hip pockets. And my policies that I will promote out of the governor's office will do just those things. And if I am honored with the opportunity to serve the people of Oklahoma, I assure you my policies will be coming forth from the second floor. And I will be a very proactive governor, and I will lead this state. I will use the bully pulpit to help expand freedom, to get government off of our backs, to put government back in its place, to hold at bay Congress and keep Congress out of our backyard. Congress should stick to its 19 or 20 constitutional duties, and everything else is left to we the people and to the states. And so those are the things that I will be about, and I would really appreciate your listeners, again, going to my website, randybrogdon.com. And if you believe in freedom and if you want to contribute to that cause, I would certainly appreciate the opportunity for you to do that.
And, of course, you can accept donations from out of state, too, correct?
Sure.
You don't have to be in Oklahoma.
Yeah, the only limitations I have, there is a $5,000 max contribution, and I cannot take money from a corporation. But,
okay.
Yeah, individuals.
What rule about the corporation? Where does that come from?
That's the ethics rules here in the state of Oklahoma.
Excellent. So you have to have a
LLCs or partnerships are okay.
Excellent.
I find it ironic that I was at the second floor of the Capitol last week. In fact, it was the day before the Tea Party. There we have the original Constitution laid out in a protective clear box just around the corner from, I believe, the Supreme Court chambers. And Gore Vidal's grandfather helped draft that. It's one of the, I guess, one of the most state constitutions. He was a blind U.S. Senator. Teddy Roosevelt handpicked him to help. And a lot of the principles that you just enumerated, Senator Brogdon, are contained within that book. And it's very sad and very unfortunate that our present governor and others in the past have not abided by that state constitution to the letter. And I know in my heart, seeing what you've done, at least in the last 2-3 years that I've heard you speak, that you're going to do your best to do that. So it's certainly an honor, truly an honor, to have you on our show.
Well, I'm pleased that you invited me on, and I would encourage your listeners to look at the candidates in this race. I'll be running against the normal politicians that usually run. Yeah, but I'm going to give the people a different choice than they've had in a long time. So, one of my opponents has already filed. She voted for the